So far?
Yeah, so far it's good. Like usually I have 2 days to set up, like usually 1 day.
Yeah.
And this time I had 4 days, so it's more than what I need to set up. So.
Yeah.
And it's a long space, as you can see. Like it's a long gallery, so it's not easy to make sure that everything works properly. So when I came in December, I came just like 1 hour to meet François, the owner of the gallery. Mm-hmm. And there was a show here, and a very different kind of work. So it was a bit, to imagine the space empty and to see your work, to imagine your work. So I went back to Europe and tried to organize this out, and arrived 4 days ago and put all the works pretty much on the floor to see how it could work and things like that. And so far, I'm very happy with what's going on. So
wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked.
So, but the opening is tomorrow night.
So depending on the space, you have to figure out how you're going to curate. I mean,
yeah, because I used to be an architect before.
Okay.
So I like to also use the space to show my work. You know, I don't just come and hang the work and that's it. I like to use the space as part of an installation.
Gotcha.
So I always put my work as in more like an installation than just like a proper show. And so that's why you can see on the wall here. So
yeah, I love this. What is this?
Well, this show is about the story of a Japanese cannibal who ate a young Dutch lady in Paris in '81. And after he killed the lady, he ate her during 2 days. And after 2 days, he wanted to drop all the leftover of the body in a small lake near Paris, in the neighborhood of Paris. And the neighborhood is full of prostitutes. So the prostitutes saw that guy coming every night, throwing away bags with meat inside, and so they called the cops. And they went into his apartment and they found like a complete massacre.
Get out of here! Oh my God!
So he got caught, and he never denied. Like he always said that he wanted to eat a woman, and he came to France for that because he knew that he may not go to jail, but to go to psychiatric hospital.
But so you thought he knew to go to a psychiatric hospital if he does it in France versus another country?
Yes, true.
Oh my God.
True. So, but his dad was like a big businessman in Japan, so he got him the best lawyers, and after 6 months he got extradited to Japan. And when he arrived in Japan, there was a kind of a misunderstanding in between the Japanese law and the French law. So there was I don't know how you call it, but a mistake,
Yeah, lost in translation?
In the procedure, there was a kind of a mistake, so the lawyers in Japan used it, and after 6 months or 1 year in Japan, he got freed.
Wow!
So he did a year and a half in jail, in custody, mostly, waiting for his trial, and then he got freed. And in Japan, there are they do not recognize mental sickness. So he doesn't have any following up with a psychiatric or something like that. So he's completely free. So he still lives in Tokyo, and he's completely free. And because there are not so many cannibals, in the world, it's not like often, like on a crime.
Yeah, I read something the other day, some cannibalism going on in Europe or whatever. You don't hear about it.
No, so there was a lot of press about this story.
What year was this?
81.
81.
81. So there was a lot of press. So when he arrived in Japan, he became a kind of a small celebrity, and he started being invited to TV shows. He became a food critic for a Japanese food magazine.
Became a food critic?
Yeah. And he became a mascot for a TV ad for a meat chain restaurant, and also a small porn star actor.
Wow.
And he still does that. And he always, he did a lot of press interview where he explained exactly how he killed the body, how he ate the lady and things like that. And he also explained that for him, eating human flesh, like from a young girl, is the ultimate stage of making love. Because also in Japanese, the way you say to make love, so the way they say that, there is a Japanese character, and the kanji is meat.
Meat.
So for them, the relationship to sex is more like, to eat than more sentimental. They could be in Europe or anywhere else. So this guy is completely free and lives in Tokyo just like this. So that's why I did this entire work about this story, because for me it's how to portray sex and violence in art. So it's not only about a matter of how strong the images could be, it's more about the story behind it. So I took photograph of, so I created a link in between Japan and France. So I took photograph of butcher window displays, raw meat, and I took photograph of porn, movie, cinema, window display in Tokyo, and I put them together. And so you have like the meat photograph are nothing weird, it's just meat. And the window display of the movie cinema in Tokyo, or the porn movie cinema, is just erotic images, so it's not so, obvious. But when you put them together to explain that story, then it became something very...
Oh yeah.
When you look at it and you know that it's related to this story, then it became very strange. So what I wanted to do is very simple, is I wanted to show the real story and my interpretation as an artist. So I use the gallery as a long space, and on both sides I share the gallery in two. So
Gotcha.
on this side it's an historical wall. So it's it's all these images that have been in the press when they talked about that story. So they are all real images. So you can see the guy in the street of Tokyo. Like here it's all about him when he was a kid, his parents. And here this is his apartment in Tokyo right now. So I put a map of Tokyo and a map of Paris here. And it's all about, when he got arrested, you can see him with the French police, evidence in the apartment, photograph of the apartment, photograph of the trial, the recording of the policeman, and the leftover of the body and his apartment in Paris. The suitcase where he put the body parts before throwing them in the lake. So and I created a matrix with the red thread about it all happened in those two places. It's before he did it, so it's how weird it was, and how now he has like this very easy life in Tokyo. He's completely free. So that's I don't need to explain the story. The entire story is just right here visually. And on the other side of the gallery, it's my artist interpretation.
What have you learned from this? I mean, like you weren't studying, or you weren't really fully aware of cannibalism before. I'm just curious as to
it's not more about this. It's more about I've seen a lot of artists using sex in art or violence in art, and it's always been a recurrent theme in art, sex and violence. So I tried to see how I could do that using the way I do photography. So I just took that story and saw what I could do about it.
Yeah, amazing.
So here you have the pieces where it's raw meat and erotic images from the porn movie cinema window display in Tokyo. And all the text here, it's always halfway in between food and sex.
I love it.
So that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Still in progress for tomorrow night, as you can see.
This is amazing. I had no idea. So tomorrow, what time?
6 p.m.
Tomorrow, 6 p.m.
Yeah, so wake up early, brush your teeth, and come over.
Definitely.
Art is a way to remember. Art is a way to remember about things, because art stays forever. Like, it has more chance to stay forever than anything else. Like, for example, when the press talked about that story at the time, it just makes noise for a short time, and then that's it. Now the guy just waits that everybody forgets about him, and that's it. But art will stay more longer. Like when we think about like the Roman time, like in Pompeii, we just see all the paintings on the wall, and so we can have an idea of the lifestyle of people living in Pompeii at the time. And because of art, we remember. There is no more writing, something like that. So art is a way to keep memories of things.
Relevance.
So because of that story is a terrible story, so maybe because I did art, I used it to make my art, then maybe it will help to remember longer than anything else.
Yeah, and hopefully the pick up papers to bring it up and begin the conversation. I love what you're doing. K-narf, by the way, what's the website for people who want to reach out and find out more about your work?
www.cannibalism.com.
Love it. Cool. Thank you, bro.